Did COP26 achieve its goals? The main goal was to secure global net zero by mid-century and keep a maximum of 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming above pre-industrial levels. Given that greenhouse gas emissions are not reducing as quickly as needed, they're still going up. There are many who fear that the 1.5 degree target will not be achieved. So the risk is that we'll be facing even more severe weather events. Another goal included accelerating the phase-out of coal. This one is actually going backwards. The energy crisis caused by Russia's war in Ukraine has seen several countries increase their use of coal. EU coal consumption rose by 10% in the first half of this year, according to the International Energy Agency. In Germany, at least 20 coal-fired power plants are being resurrected or extended past their closing dates to ensure enough energy to get through the winter. Another goal was mobilizing at least $100 billion in climate finance per year for poorer countries. That hasn't been achieved and is likely to be one of the most controversial topics at COP27 in Egypt. Then there was the commitment to curtail deforestation. That hasn't happened, but the recent election of Lula in Brazil means that could change, and he has already made public statements that he intends to protect the Amazon rainforest. There are a couple of pluses from the energy crisis. It has given a boost to countries to invest in renewables, including solar energy and wind power. In the UK, for example, around 40% of all the electricity produced is from renewables, mainly offshore wind farms. The switch to electric vehicles is also speeding up. Nearly a quarter of all cars newly registered in China are now electric or plug-in hybrid vehicles. European sales are also increasing. Norway, a major oil producer, is leading the world in percentage terms, with 65% of new car sales all electric, with another 20% hybrids. What is the Glasgow Climate Pact? The Glasgow Climate Pact is the document that was signed by almost 200 nations at COP26 in Glasgow. At the time, the UK summit chair said the deal would keep alive international hopes of averting the worst impacts of global warming. The agreement acknowledged that commitments made by countries so far to cut emissions of planet-heating greenhouse gases are nowhere near enough to prevent planetary warming from exceeding 1.5 degrees. It asked governments to strengthen those targets by the end of next year, in other words, in time for COP27, rather than every 5 years as previously required. So what are the goals of COP27? Firm plans, finance and fossil fuels are three of the key topics at COP27. Countries were asked last year at COP26 to deliver plans on how they intended to reduce emissions of greenhouse gases to stop the world getting warmer. Right now, carbon dioxide levels are still going up, meaning achieving a limit of 1.5 degrees looks unlikely. Let's see how many countries actually provide firm plans. The most contentious topic is likely to be climate finance. The developed world was meant to have started delivering $100 billion a year by 2020 to help poorer countries. It hasn't happened. There are also disagreements over how much money should be for emissions reductions as opposed to helping countries to adapt to a warmer climate. Finally, there'll be discussions on how to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels. This will be difficult given the energy crisis due to Russia's war in Ukraine, and the use of coal, for example, is currently increasing rather than going down.